he now enters the divine presence of Osiris, Ra, to relate what he has done in the characters of human Horus, Har, Tema, and Har Makeru, on behalf of his father, which constitutes him the veritable son of God. When the Manes had attained the solar bark, he has put on the divine body of Ra, and is hailed by the ministrants with cries of welcome and acclamations from the Mount of Glory. Sen 133. In traveling through the underworld, he had passed from the western horizon of earth to the east of heaven, where he joins the solar boat to voyage the celestial waters. There is a change of boat for the night. Hence the speaker says he is coming in the two barks of the Lord of Sal. 136b, Renouf. There may be some difficulty about the exact position of the chapter numbered No in the ritual, but there is no difficulty in identifying the fields of peace upon the summit of Mount Hetep as the lower paradise of Tu, which was the land of promise attainable in Amenta. This was the subterrestrial or earthly paradise of the legends. When the Manes comes to these Elysian fields, he is still in the earth of eternity and has to prove himself an equal as a worker with the mighty Kus-Kuti, who are 9 cubits high, in cultivating his allotment of arable land. The arrival at Mount Hetep in this lower paradise or heaven of the solar mythos precedes the entrance to the judgment hall, which is in the domain of the Asar or Osiris below, and the voyage from east to west in the Matit and the Sektit bark of the sun. Therefore it is not in the ultimate heaven, or the upper paradise of eternity upon Mount Hetep. We see from the pyramid texts, Pepi Wuth, lines 192, 169, 182, Maspero, Les Inscriptions, des Pyramides de Saqqara, that there were 2 stages of ascent to the upper paradise, that were represented by 2 ladders. One is the ladder of Sut, as the ascent from the land of darkness, the other is the ladder of Horus, reaching to the land of light. King Pepi salutes the 2. Homage to thee, O ladder of Sut. Set thyself up, O ladder of God. Set thyself up, O ladder of Sut. Set thyself up, O ladder of Heru or Horus, whereby Osiris appeared in heaven when he wrought protection for Ra. Pepi likewise enters heaven in his name of the ladder, Budge, Book of the Dead, Intro, Petit 17, 118. The Manes also says in Set 149, I raise my ladder up to the sky that I may behold the gods. But, having traced the reconstruction of the deceased for a future life, we now return to follow him once more from the entrance to Amenta on his journey through the underworld. His mortal personality having been made as permanent as possible in the mummy left on earth, the Manes rising in Amenta now sets out to attain the personality that is to last forever. He pleads with all his dumbness that his mouth may be opened, or, in other words, that his memory, which he has lost a while, may be given back to him, so that he may utter the words of power, CS 21:23, with which he is equipped. The ceremony of opening the mouth after the silence of death was one of the profoundest secrets. The great type of power by means of which the mouth is opened was the leg of the hippopotamus goddess, the symbol of her mightiness as prima mobile in the Great Bear, having been adopted for this purpose in the eschatology. The ceremony was performed at the tomb as well as in Amenta by the opener Ptah, as a mystery of the resurrection. And amongst the many other survivals, this rite of opening the mouth is still performed in Rome. It was announced in a daily paper not long since, the Mail, August 8, 1903, that after the death of Pope Leo XIII and the coronation of Pius X, a consistory would be held to close and open the lips of the cardinals newly created, or newly born into the purple. The Osiris also prays that when his mouth is opened, Tehuti or Thoth or Tot may come to him equipped with the words of power. So soon as the mouth of the Manes is freed from the fetters of dumbness and darkness, or muzzles of Sut, and restored to him, he collects the words of power from all quarters more persistently than any sleuth, hound, and more swiftly than the flash of light. 23:24, Renouf. These words of power are magical in their effect. They paralyze all opposition. They open every door. The power is at once applied. The speaker says back in Retreat 1, Back, crocodile Sui, come not against me who live by the words of power. 31. This is spoken to the crocodiles or dragons who come to rob the Manes and carry off the words of power that protect the deceased in death. The magical mode of employing the words of power in the mysteries of Tehuti or Tot is by the deceased being assimilated to the character and assuming the superhuman type as a means of protection against the powers of evil. The speaker in the ritual does not mistake himself for the deity. He is the deity pro turn, enacted sign language, and by such means is master of the magical power. It is the god who is the power, and the magician employs the words and signs which express that power. But instead of praying to the god, he makes use of the divine words attributed to the god, and personates the god as Horus or Ra, Tot or Osiris in character. He puts on the mask of a crocodile, an ibis, a lion, or other zoo type of the primary powers, and says to his adversaries, "I am the crocodile, Sebek," or "I am the lion," or Adam, or "I am Ra, the sun," protecting himself with the Uraeus serpent, and consequently no evil thing can overthrow me. 32. Repeating Sheich 42 was a magical way of escaping from the slaughter which was wrought in Suten-Ken, and the mode of magic was for the deceased in his rebirth to become or to be assimilated to the divine child in his rebirth. He tells the serpent Abur that he is the divine babe, the mighty one. Not a limb of him is without a god. He is not to be grasped by arms or seized by hands. Not men or gods, the glorified ones or the damned, not generations past, present, or to come, can inflict any injury on him who cometh forth and proceedeth as the eternal child, the everlasting one. Writ. 42. Or as Horus, the son of Isis. These divine characters are assumed by the Mans when he commands his enemies to do his bidding. According to the magical prescriptions, in fighting the devil, or the evil Aphap, a figure of the monster was to be molded in wax with the name inscribed upon it in green. Budge, Proceedings Soak of Arch, 1866, Po 21. This was to be spat upon many times, spurned with the foot, and then flung into the fire, as a magical mode of casting out the devil. When the Aphap reptile is first encountered and addressed in the ritual, it is said, "O one of wax, who takest captive and seizest with violence and livest upon those who are motionless, let me not become motionless before thee." Writ. Ch. 7. This is because the presence of the devouring monster is made tangible by the image of wax which represents the power addressed, that is otherwise invisible. The ideal becomes concrete in the figure that is thus magically employed. It is in this magical sense that the opening chapters of the ritual are declared to contain the words of power that bring about the resurrection and the glory of the Manes in Amenta. This mode of magic is likewise a mode of hypnotism or human magnetism, which was universally common with the primitive races, especially the African, but which is only now being timidly touched by modern science. The power of paralyzing and of arresting motion was looked upon as magical potency indeed. Hypnotic power is magical power. This is described as being taken from the serpent as its strength. In one passage, Writ. Ach. 149, the serpent is described as he who paralyzes with his eyes. And previously in the same chapter, the speaker says to the serpent, "I am the man who covers thy head with darkness, and I am the great magician. Thine eyes have been given to me, and I'm glorified through them. Thy strength or power is in my grasp." This might be termed a lesson in hypnotism. The speaker becomes a great magician by taking possession of the paralyzing power in the eyes of the serpent. The description seems to imply that there had been a contest betwixt the serpent charmer and the serpent, and that the man had conquered by wresting the magical power from the reptile. The Manes has much to say about the adversary of souls whom he meets in Amenta. This is the Aphap of darkness, of drought and dearth, disease and death. It is the representative of evil in physical phenomena, which was translated as a figure from the mythology into the domain of eschatology. In chapter 32, the Osiris standeth up upon his feet, to face and defy the crocodiles of darkness, who devour the dead and carry off the words of power from the glorified in the underworld. They are stopped and turned back when the speaker says, "I am Atum."